بینگان عزیز به بخش خبری 22 شبکه خبر خوش آمدید. امروز سخنگوی سپاه پاسداران انقلاب
At 0900 on April 5, 2026, Iranian state television could have broadcast the image that changes everything about this war. A U.S. Air Force colonel, a full bird, 18 years of combat, carrying active electronic warfare intelligence, being walked into an IRGC detention facility. It didn't happen, but it came within 6 hours. This video does two things. First, we reconstruct exactly what happened over those 36 hours. The shoot-down, the manhunt, the rescue, with the tactics and technology behind each decision. Then we run the scenario where one variable flips, where a Bakhtiari tribesman reaches a mountain crevice 6 hours before the CIA does. And we show you what this war looks like the morning after Iran announces it has an American prisoner. This is a fictional scenario built on verified U.S. military capabilities and the confirmed events of April 3rd through 5th, 2026. Day 37 of Operation Epic Fury. An F-15E Strike Eagle from the 494th Fighter Squadron out of RAF Lakenheath takes a direct hit from a Bavar-373 surface-to-air missile over the mountains of Kogaluya and Boyar Ahmad province in southwestern Iran. The Bavar-373 is Iran's domestically developed answer to the Russian S-300, a long-range system capable of engaging targets at altitude. It was deployed precisely where U.S. strike planners assessed Iranian air defense coverage no longer existed. The system fired from a concealed mountain position. Both crew members ejected cleanly on ACE's 2 seats. The pilot was recovered within 4 hours. The weapons systems officer was not. While the wreckage was still burning, $60,000 was already moving through southwestern Iran like a current. The regional governor put the reward on state television within hours of the shoot-down. And in Kogaluya and Boyar Ahmad province, one of the most remote and rugged regions in the country, $60,000 is not an abstract number. It is a decade of income. Bakhtiari nomadic tribesmen who have navigated these mountains their entire lives began moving through them before the IRGC ground forces had finished cordoning the range. The Basij, Iran's paramilitary militia, fanned out across valley floors in civilian vehicles. The manhunt was civilian before it was military, and that made it more dangerous than any armored column. 4.5 kilometers from the crash site, inside a rock crevice on the eastern face of the range, the weapons systems officer was making the correct decisions one at a time. He had a compression fracture in his left leg from the ejection. He had activated his PRC-112 survival radio and made intermittent contact before the terrain broke communications. He had moved west, toward friendly territory, before stopping. The stop was deliberate. Movement creates thermal and acoustic signature. A stationary evader in complex terrain is exponentially harder to locate than a moving one. Every U.S. aviator trains for this under SERE protocol: survival, evasion, resistance, escape. And he was executing it correctly under conditions that protocol can only partially prepare you for. Above him, the machinery of recovery was already running. RQ-170 Sentinel drones orbited at altitude, providing full-motion infrared surveillance. MH-60M Black Hawk CSR teams held ready. 2 of those Black Hawks took small arms fire from Iranian civilians. Videos circulated on social media showing men firing AK pattern rifles at low-flying helicopters from the roadside. Both aircraft sustained damage. Both stayed airborne. The CIA seeded false intelligence inside Iran that the colonel had already been located and was being exfiltrated. This created hours of confusion inside the IRGC search network, hours that were not spare, they were necessary. After more than 30 hours, specialized commando units located the colonel in that crevice, using capabilities the CIA has not publicly described. The exfiltration executed under fire. At least one MC-130J that malfunctioned during the operation was deliberately destroyed on the ground to prevent capture. U.S. aircraft were actively bombing Iranian convoys approaching the colonel's position while the rescue team was still moving toward him. That was the margin. President Trump confirmed the rescue early Sunday morning, April 5th. He called it one of the most daring search and rescue operations in American history. The margin between that statement and a completely different kind of broadcast was measured in hours, and in how well one man held still in a mountain crevice while the world looked for him. Now change one variable. A Bakhtiari tribesman reaches that crevice 6 hours before the CIA does. He has walked this range his entire life. The terrain that is degrading U.S. surveillance is home to him. He finds a uniform. He hears breathing. The $60,000 is there. But more than that, the instruction from his governor is there, on state television, on a loop. He makes the call. Local police arrive in 20 minutes. IRGC intelligence organization personnel are on site by 4430. By so 615, Colonel Garrett, we'll use that name, is restrained in the back of an armored vehicle moving northeast toward Isfahan, wounded, alive. And at Euro 900, on April 5th, Iranian state television runs the broadcast the White House spent 36 hours trying to prevent. The Islamic Republic of Iran has taken an American prisoner of war. In Washington, that sentence sits in the air of the Situation Room for a moment before anyone responds, because everyone in that room understands simultaneously what it means, not just politically, not just for the colonel, but for every active operation running over Iranian airspace at that exact moment. The convoy doesn't go to a local facility, it goes to Isfahan, and the clock starts. Colonel Garrett is a weapons systems officer. He carries detailed working knowledge of the electronic warfare packages currently suppressing Iranian radar across the entire theater. He knows the IFF transponder codes identifying friendly aircraft in real time. He knows strike sequencing patterns. Every hour he remains in Iranian custody is a live, compounding intelligence breach. And the IRGC knows precisely what they have. The National Security Council approves direct action at 13:47 Washington time. The window is 6 hours. At 0400 local time, IRGC transfers Garrett to Evin Prison in Tehran. No American has come out of Evin in under a decade. Delta Force, Burst SFODD, C Squadron, 42 operators. CIA Ground Branch confirms the location. A converted industrial compound 12 kilometers south of Isfahan. 3 security rings, 31 IRGC personnel on drone thermal imaging. The intel brief estimated 24. Overwhelming air support covers every approach and every exit. The mission launches at 2100 local time. The Blackhawks run nap of the earth through mountain passes at 80 feet above ground level, below Iranian radar. Every operator on GPNVG-18 4-tube night vision. The team hits the ground 400 meters from the perimeter at 22:01. Moving through rocky scrubland in a diamond formation, the support element already positioned on the northern ridgeline. At 200 meters, a motion-activated floodlight fires along the south wall, invisible in drone footage, absent from every NSA intercept. 3 guards react. 2 sniper shots from the ridgeline arrive simultaneously, suppressed, subsonic. 2 guards down. The third transmits one word before the third round finds him. Doshman. Enemy. The compound goes to full alert. A QRF element intel placed 6 minutes away is actually 4, already moving. The lead technical takes an AT-4 to the engine block. The breaching team is through the south gate. The AC-130J walks 30mm fire across the roofline, eliminating 2 PKM positions before they can depress their guns into the courtyard below. The primary holding room stops everyone cold. The restraints are there. The interrogation chair is there. The coffee on the table is still warm. The colonel is not. From 50,000 feet, the RQ-170 operator. Thermal contact, sub-level 2. 8 IRGC personnel moving up from a tunnel access point directly between the team and Exfil. The Ghost Rider handles the QRF reinforcements converging on the main gate in 4 seconds of 105 meters fire. The team doesn't wait for the smoke. They move to the service corridor 30 seconds at a run, and they go down. Colonel Garrett is handcuffed to a water pipe in a 4-meter room with a painted black window. Left leg splinted with an IV pole and electrical tape. He has been in this room for less than 18 hours, and it has already cost him something that won't show on an X-ray. He looks up when the door opens. The team leader pulls his face shield. "Delta, let's go." Garrett reaches out and takes a pistol from the operator's holster without being offered it. He stands on a fractured leg without assistance. He walks out of that room on his own terms, and every operator in the corridor understands exactly what they are looking at. 2 minutes and 19 seconds after entering the sublevel, all 42 operators are above ground. The F-22s activate full SEED jamming across 40 kilometers. Iranian radar sees nothing. The Black Hawk flares in at 22:47. Garrett's boots leave Iranian soil. Gone. For a moment, hold that image, because what follows is not about the rescue. The compound south of Isfahan burns for 6 hours. The AC-130J logged 14 fire missions in 26 minutes. 0 American fatalities. 4 operators with non-life-threatening wounds, all returned to duty within 72 hours. By any tactical measure, the operation is a success. But here is what the capture itself, the 18 hours Iran held Colonel Garrett before the rescue, actually changes. And it is not what most people would expect. What the capture changes is the political architecture of the war. The moment Iran announces it holds an American prisoner of war, every restraint the White House has been operating under, the careful avoidance of certain infrastructure targets, the back-channel negotiations running through Oman, the quiet pressure from Gulf states asking for a ceiling on the campaign, every one of those constraints loses its political weight. Not because of a decision made in anger, because the capture is a demonstration that U.S. aircrew are reachable, that American intelligence has gaps, that the $60,000 bounty came within hours of working. The only coherent response to that demonstration is the removal of every remaining restriction on what comes next. The Bavar-373 battery that started this sequence is destroyed by a B-2 Spirit within 48 hours. 2 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, 30,000 pounds each. The Oman Channel is dead before the week ends. 3 Gulf states mediating a ceasefire withdraw their offers. Iran bet that holding an American prisoner changes the strategic calculus. Every conflict since 1991 returned the same answer. It doesn't. It raises the ceiling on American response until there is no ceiling left. The people who closed that 6-hour margin will not be named publicly. The colonel executed his training in conditions that training can only partially simulate. The CIA ran a deception campaign with hours of runway remaining. Air crews stayed on station while taking fire from the ground. A specialized commando unit operated deep inside Iranian territory, with enough air cover to hold off everything the IRGC could move in a single night. The margin held. This time. But the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. The 82nd Airborne and 2 Marine Expeditionary units are moving towards the Persian Gulf. And there is one island, Qeshm, 12 kilometers off Iran's southern coast, sitting at the exact choke point controlling 20% of the world's oil supply, with IRGC missile batteries and naval assets positioned across every viable approach. The question of whether U.S. forces move on it is no longer theoretical. That operation is next. Subscribe to Operation Fury and hit the bell. See you on the mission.